What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a new indie horror movie that I saw circling around the internet. And I've talked about this before multiple times on my channel, but one of the things that I really like to use my platform for is to kind of give a voice to independent filmmakers. I watch a lot of movies that are like really low budget found footage films, movies where people don't have a heck of a lot of money to make a project. And I always really respect people for going out there and like pursuing this vision that they have and bringing this to life. Because as someone who went to film school, making a movie is not easy at all. Getting people together to act in it, getting the correct cinematographer, people working on sound, who's going to edit it, who's going to put the whole thing together. There's a lot of moving pieces. And so creating a movie without the assistance of an enormous studio is a really difficult thing to do. And I always love trying to give a voice to independent creators. And this was a movie I know done on a very small budget, and that's why I wanted to check it out. And the film I'm going to be telling you about today is Bystanders. Bystanders is directed by Mary Beth McAndrews. Abby and her friends attend a frat party, but it turns into a nightmare when they are drugged and hunted for sport. As Abby escapes, a mysterious couple arrives and they're ready to turn the tables on the predators. So I was super excited to watch this movie. Like I said, I love supporting independent film, especially horror. You guys know horror is my forte. And what I will say is, I respect the creator of this film and the people for attempting to bring this vision to life. I think that the idea behind it is really great, and I think what it's trying to say through the movie is really important. But I think the movie, unfortunately, is really bad, and it was very difficult for me to stay invested because of I feel like there's a lot of flaw in the screenplay. I feel like there's not a lot of talent in the acting department here, which makes it very difficult to get invested completely. And the violence is pretty tapered down for what you're used to. I mean, they do the best that they can with their practical effects, but all of those things make it kind of a difficult watch. And I'll talk about that a little bit more when I break the movie down for you today. So, at the beginning of the movie, we're introduced to a husband and wife couple, Claire and Gray, who are expecting their first child, and they're both on their way, I believe, to go to a wedding party. And we see them having a discussion at their house early on, and it seems like they're very much in love. They have a really great relationship. Well, simultaneously, we're introduced to Abby and a group of her friends who are getting ready to go to a party in the middle of the woods. It's a frat party. She's kind of reluctant to go at first, but her friends are like, hey, you need to go, like, let loose, enjoy your time, have fun. So they go to this party. They get there, and they're talking to the men at the party, and the men are making these alcoholic drinks, and they end up drugging all of them. And once the women are drugged, they assault all of them. Well, when the women wake up, they're all tied up, and they look at them and say, hey, we're going to give you like 60-second head start. We're going to let you loose, and then we're going to kill all of you. Well, we cut back to that husband and wife couple who are driving back from this wedding. Abby ends up getting out and stopping their car on the side of the road, and they say, hey, we'll help you out and we'll figure out what's going on. And they are confronted by these men who are trying to attack them. And the entirety of the film is this husband and wife couple keeping a secret from our lead character, and that secret leading to them assisting her with fighting back against these horrible men. So, like I said, I was really disappointed in this movie. I respect what they're going for here, but unfortunately, just the execution, the pacing of the film, the performances make it an incredibly difficult watch. But I will say, for the positives of this movie, like I said, these types of films, especially in correlation with sexual assault, when we live in a world where so many women come forward with their stories, and a lot of times people don't believe them or they're treated poorly when they come forward with their assault stories. It's incredibly important to make movies about these types of issues to bring them into the public light so people can learn from them. I talked not too long ago about the film Revenge, which is one of my favorite revenge movies, period, especially when it comes to the topic of assault. I think it's handled very well, really great character building. And so, like, I understand from the creator's point of view what they're trying to bring across here. And I think there's a lot of important conversations that are had surrounding that subject matter in this movie. And I appreciated the chemistry between the husband and wife couple, especially early on in the movie, and how they try to build on it. I think they were really probably the strongest element of the movie. Their chemistry and their relationship was one of the few things that kept me really invested. But unfortunately, that's the only positives that I have for this movie. The biggest issue that I have with this, and I'll go back to my days in film school. I took a screenwriting class when I was in film school. I took a few screenwriting classes. And one of the most important things they tell you in screenwriting is that the importance of a screenplay is show, don't tell. You're not supposed to just write droves and droves of expositional dialogue that's explaining each and every internal thought that a character is having, because it becomes very tedious and it's like you're just telling the audience what to think rather than showcase it through action or nuance. One of the things I love about Revenge, a movie I was discussing earlier, is the way that the character building occurs in that movie through natural bits of conversation, through the way they incorporate things in the frame, which builds up a character that you can care about and that you can really kind of stick with, that you're pulling for. Any human being going through a horrible experience like an assault, it's easy to connect to and feel bad for them. But the problem with this movie is I feel like the character who experiences the assault, she gradually becomes more of a part of the movie, but you're immediately just thrusted into this situation where it feels like any semblance of like tension or suspense or anything of that nature is completely and totally stripped away from you, to where it's like, even in a lot of these movies, they'll do a really good job where the person committing the horrible action, they'll like paint them as this like really suave, sort of manipulative character who at first can seem like a normal person, but then they commit something horrible and you realize like the true intent behind that character. And then a lot of times they'll do a lot of great things with the character building of the lead and what they're going through in their lives and how this situation impacts them. I feel like we don't really get any information about any of these characters in any sort of natural way, except for really droning expositional dialogue that's just telling you exactly what to think. There's no nuance there. There's nothing. There's like this whole scene where the wife that comes to help this young woman, they have someone like pinned down on the ground, and she literally takes like 5 minutes to explain her entire backstory. And like, I get you don't get a lot of that information early on, but it doesn't work. It's incredibly clunky and it just feels like it's thrown in there to tell you more of what the film is trying to get at, which is like obviously assault and rape, horrible things, terrible. No one should ever experience those things. And the film is just constantly adding in exposition to tell you, hey, this is bad, hey, this is bad, hey, this is bad. But we understand that. We can see it through the actions of the characters. We can learn that through bits and pieces of dialogue. But when you have these long bouts of exposition that seemingly just go nowhere, to even in like the character building, like it would be so much more interesting if things like that are revealed through little bits and pieces of dialogue, like just like a snippet here and there, to where we as an audience member can piece things together a little bit more in our heads rather than you just give everything to us. I feel like if the husband and wife couple had any more sort of like air of mystery to them or anything, it would have made the movie far more engaging and interesting. But when you put everything right out there, it takes that away completely. And there's tons of scenes of just like dead air in this movie where people are just like standing in a room, or like they're trying to add personality to the villains. Like there's this one scene I remember very particularly with one of the guys going into the house and he's like having a freak out whether or not someone's going to show up and try to hurt him. And it just lingers on it for way too long, to where it's not like you could just be like, okay, you can cut to that moment, have him briefly like have a moment and then move on from that scene. But it just felt like the direction, they didn't really know how to fill gaps in the time in this movie, which also was incredibly frustrating because this hour and 20-minute movie felt like it was 3 hours long, which was another issue that I have with this film. And typically in these movies, I feel like the power comes from the lead character who experiences this horrible trauma, um, getting through it and kind of exacting her revenge or whatever in any particular circumstance. And sure, that happens to a degree here, but I feel like she's not really the central focal point of the movie, which also makes it confusing. And then the other part of the movie that really kind of irritated me is they try to take like a darkly comedic approach. They try to take a darkly comedic approach with a lot of the material, which I can understand in this type of a movie when you go the darkly comedic route as like the revenge against the dumb redneck conservatives. Like, I'm all for that. I think there's a lot of entertainment value to be had with that. But it always felt like whenever it was trying to tonally shift back and forth between the darkly comedic and like the real severe drama associated with assault, they never knew how to balance it correctly. And so the movie just feels like a complete and utter mess. And like I said, it's hard because you can tell that this director wanted to create something to like be representative of women's experience in association with assault. And as I said before, incredibly important material to create and build upon and like tell stories of, because like so many women experience this horribly, because our country is so incredibly messed up and men in this country can genuinely be evil, and it's terrible. And so I really respect them for trying to tell this story, but unfortunately, it's not done in a way that's entertaining or engaging, and I was not a fan of this at all. So, have you seen the movie Bystanders? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was a mess, unfortunately, and I would have a hard time recommending it, even though the director had really great intentions. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material, and I look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.